Welcome to the Ron's podcast. I am the Ron. This would be episode number 22, and this will probably be a short bonus episode. Grab yourself a cup of coffee, a nice comfy chair, and let's chat. A few weeks ago, I tried to do a video episode, and all that would upload was the audio for some reason. And I know what it is. I found out the technical issue. The frame rate of the video was not up to specs for Spotify. So I'm trying to figure out how to change the frame rate of my camera. If anyone who is listening knows how to do that, please drop me a comment, please. And maybe you can help me with that. I don't have the world's most up-to-date computer, but maybe you could help me with maybe either finding a program or how to change the frame rate on the camera. But during that episode, I was telling you about a picture that I was trying to draw using the charcoals that was given to me as a gift, and I wanted to gift the people back a picture using those charcoals. And I did. I wanted to update everybody on that, and waited with bated breath, I'm sure. But I was originally wanted to do two vines intertwined together with the verse on there, but I chose instead to do a cross with a grapevine kind of wrapped around the cross, and up above the cross and down below the cross, kind of like an arc. I did put like half the verse, so for he is able to, and then graft them back in on the bottom. I have not got a frame for it yet. And I had to find some fixant for it because when you draw with charcoal, you have to have a fixant sprayed on it to keep the charcoal from going everywhere. And since I couldn't afford the fixant that they had at Walmart, I ended up buying some cheap hairspray at my work. While it isn't the world's greatest thing to use, it will work enough for me to get it into a frame and without it being destroyed. So just letting everybody know about that. But that is not the whole idea of this episode, but I just wanted to update you on that. And I do hope at some point I can at least try to get one video episode in. I'm thinking I probably have to use my cell phone camera instead of my computer. I just don't like the recording quality, but we'll see. Well, and I do have my other camera, my really good camera. I could probably do that. But anyways, I'm rambling. Sorry about that. At some point. I'm not in a hurry, though, to do it because I am, at the moment, trying to figure out the tech issues to get my interview with my professional on here. So either we will be recording that on Wednesday via the phone. I'm hoping I got the right program on my phone so I can do that. If not, then it'll probably be another week or so before, maybe 2 weeks before we can actually get together face to face. And at that point, we'll be face to face at a restaurant using the recording off my phone, just the regular phone recorder instead of through the phone recorder. I think you probably get what I mean. Anyways, so we'll see what happens. So look for that within the next couple of weeks. I am super excited. It's kind of sciencey, but I will give you a hint. It does go along towards, well, I already said this before, human behavior. And there were 2 studies done, and it's interesting. It's really interesting. But I wanted to talk about another Bible verse, Hebrews 11:1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen or not seen. Depends on what version you look at. To me, that has been one of the verses that have stuck out to me for many, many years in my life. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1, and it's I think it's a very meaningful verse. I think it's very meaningful right now in our daily lives, in our world today. And no, I'm not getting into political stuff. I'm just saying it's just, I think it's important. Faith is really important. For at least for me, and I'll tell you why it's important for me. Because without it, I would have no hope. I would be so lost. I would be like, there would be no point in anything if I didn't have faith and believe that what I can't see isn't real. Like, just because you can't see the wind, it doesn't mean it's not there. I mean, you can see the wind blowing the trees, but you can't actually see the wind. But you know it's there. The wind does affect things around you, and it's like, for me, I may not be able to see God, but I can see God affecting the things around me. I can see a flower opening up, and I know that's God's hand. I can see people being blessed. I can see babies being born. I can see miracles that have happened. I can see, just the beauty of a sunset or the beauty of a sunrise or the sparkle of the snow. Looks like a field of diamonds sometimes, and just things like that. Those are all God's handiwork. And because I can't see God, I can see these things, and I know God is there. And it's the hope of his promises. God has promised us a lot, and he does not fail. And he loves us. And I am so sorry. There goes the pack. I must have company in the yard. My husband's out in the yard working on my truck. And he's fixing it. And part of the reason why I wanted to do this was because the only reason why we made it home today, I know it was God watching out for us, because we had like a quarter of an inch of our drive shaft was held on by a quarter of an inch. And my husband just happened to look at it after we got home, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, if this thing would have fell apart, it would have been bad." And so we had rushed into town, and we got the parts and stuff, and he's out there fixing it right now. And apparently my father-in-law must be in the driveway because the dogs are going nuts. But I really feel like it's God's unseen hand holding on to that, because he said if he had known it was like that, we would never have gotten in that vehicle. We never would have drove. I mean, we drove 45, well, it's like 35 miles to church and 35 miles back. And then he went out and he checked it. And we had been driving on it like that we knew something was up, but we didn't know what. And we'd been driving on it for a few days. And then he finally had the chance to go look at it. And he's like, he doesn't understand how we made it even that far. So I told him it was God watching out for us. And I believe that it was like the unseen hand of God holding that together, because my husband showed it to me after he took it off so he could fix it. And I mean, I don't understand how it was even kept together, and the way that it would have fell off. It would have, like most U-joints, if they fall off, usually in the back, and so they would just drag. Well, it would have went off in the front. And if it would have went off in the front, my husband said it would have flipped the truck. It's just amazing that it held together, and we drove with that truck making the noise that it made for a while. And he just didn't have time to look at it, and he finally did. And it's like, I have faith and belief that God held that together until my husband could get it fixed. And I am thankful for that. And well, I'm sharing this because I want to try to give hope and try to help and try to spread some light. Again, like I said, I'm not getting into political stuff, but just the way that the entire world seems right now. It just seems like we all could use a little bit of kindness, a little bit of light to shine. And I had another podcast episode where I talked about the threads of hope and how me just holding on to one little thread of hope, I could anchor onto that and that's what Bible verses are to me. Just reading my Bible is to me. Yes, it can be a single verse or whatever, but just the whole Bible to me is a big anchor. And I think it's a good way to share some light with others. And it is the evidence of things not seen. So thank you all for stopping by and chatting for a little bit. And I will hopefully be uploading an episode maybe tomorrow, my guest episode, hopefully, if everything goes right. But thank you so much for stopping by for a chat. More later. Bye.